Man, the thing that gets me is that this is a thing about elections and how they matter. And I got to be honest with you. As a person who's voting for Joe Biden, I really feel like, and this is just me, I don't know if it's a lot of people, but I feel like that it's whiny. Like, this is going to go through. And why aren't we talking about why it's important to start understanding judges, which makes sense. Why we're not talking about understanding Senate, people in the Senate, in the House, in the presidency. This is a teaching moment because these are the consequences of people sitting on their hands, most of them throwing their hands in the air talking about the lesser of two evils. If the lesser of two evils was you not voting, then this is like one of those things where you got to just look at it like, I got to eat this. I got to eat this Supreme Court judge. I got to eat it. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, you know what I mean? It's going to take about 70 years of focus in order to get an agenda that represents any real progressiveness, as long as it's about division, strategic. You can't have everything. It's just not going to happen. You can't get the kitchen sink and the fork and the whole house and take it with you and put it in your backyard. You know what I mean? And I personally think attacking people's faith, because regardless, you have faith, and if your faith messes with your heart and makes you feel like that something is wrong, that is something you probably should have been thinking about when it was time to vote. You know what I mean? And to watch some of these senators say that the American people made this decision, like, okay, then why wasn't one of the most important things people did was get rid of the Electoral College way back when? You just look at it, it's a checker game being played on one side, and on the other side, it's chess. 3 judges, 100 and something lower court judges. But what we're arguing about is a whole lot of things at once. Like, we want Medicare for all, the Green New Deal. Like, we want all these new things, which I get and I understand. But we're not even bringing those things up to go in for a vote. Who's really with it? Because guess what's going to happen? You're going to continue to let our elders, anybody in their 80s that's still in the Senate, it's time that we start looking at that, and being more strategic, at least in my opinion. Or we can just watch as we go back in time to a healthier place for people who are afraid, which are mostly the majority that seem to have this fear. If you really want to see some progress, in my opinion, that is, you got to be down for the long haul, about a 70-year battle. You got to wait out a few judges. You might get one in there. You got to make sure they're young. At 27 years, that means that Justice Ruth was in her 60s or her 50s. 27 years is a long time. But I just think that it's a shame to think that the Republicans and Donald Trump wouldn't put a judge in there. And to hear even Joe Biden, who I respect, and Kamala Harris talk about how they disapprove. Like, what we mean to disapprove of is, how do we get a base of people to come out every 2 years and vote for the Democratic Party? How do we create an ecosystem of voting understanding that people understand, like, in order to get progress? As a black person, I want progress, because progress means that I'm getting equality. Anyway, I'm going to put this up on YouTube instead of on Facebook. This is just my opinion.